Hi, welcome to Handmade Beauty Box Live. I am so excited to have you here to talk about our project this month. This month, you guys have been getting your adorable pink boxes in the mail, and I've been hearing from you on social media that you are loving this project, those of you who have tried it. And if you haven't tried it, feel free to craft along with me today, because I'm going to be doing it real time with you, or craft later and make sure you post those photos to all of our social media, because I want to see your successes. This month is a super fun box. We're making cuticle balm that also can double as a lip balm. So in your box this month, you received 2 ounces of shea butter, 0.4 ounces of white beeswax, 1 ounce of very nourishing avocado oil, and then 0.3 ounces of passion fruit rose flavor fragrance oil. And we'll talk more about why a flavor fragrance oil in just a minute. You also got these adorable mini tins. I don't know about you guys, but these are the cutest little things, aren't they? They are so adorable. And the label set. The label set, you do need to take a scissor and just kind of cut out the entire, all the actual labels, but they are designed perfectly to fit these adorable mini tins. Finally, you got some droppers, an emery file, and this awesome cuticle trimmer so that you can do your own home manicure. What you'll actually need from home is 1 small heat-safe bowl or container, and 1 small bowl for your nail soak if you want to give yourself a manicure at home, and 2 spoons. You ready to get started crafting? If you're at home, you can always watch me and follow along with your easy to follow instructions that were included in your Handmade Beauty Box this month. So to get started, open up your shea butter. It's double sealed to make sure it comes to you safely. Shea butter comes from the African karité tree. It is extremely nourishing in a whole host of vitamins, and you may have heard about it because it's very popular in many beauty products. It's an actual butter and is odorless and is white. Go ahead and add your shea butter to your heat-safe container and all of your white beeswax. Now when you're doing a heat-safe container, I want you to consider the size of the container you're using. Make sure that it's not too large and doesn't have too much headspace. So for example, you would not want to melt this in a 2-quart heat-safe container. Go for the smallest one you have. And then finally, add your avocado oil. The avocado oil is rich in vitamins E and D and is especially good for nourishing chapped skin or dry skin. Put it in the microwave in 30-second bursts. I'm just going to put it in my Soap Queen microwave over here. Now the reason we do 30-second bursts is really interesting. Shea butter is comprised of 8 different fatty acids, and 1 or 2 of these fatty acids, when they congeal, think about like actual butter that you've melted to say put on a baked potato and then you have a little bit left over. What happens to that butter? The reason it doesn't harden up smoothly and evenly is because the different fatty acid layers and components have completely separated out. Well, shea butter is just like that. So one of the ways we can help prevent graininess in our shea butter is by melting on 30-second bursts and just checking, and right now it hasn't melted all of that much, so go ahead and put it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. We want to heat our shea butter gently and slowly to ensure that we don't get any crystallization of that shea butter. Over time, you may notice your shea butter getting a little grainy inside of your tins, and that's totally normal and natural with a product like this. Some crafters do like to put their cuticle balms and lip balms that contain shea butter directly into the freezer or refrigerator, because cooling those balms as quickly as possible helps all of those shea butter oils components actually harden going the same direction and not get grainy on you in the future. So now we have a pretty good amount of melting. So what I'm going to do is just take my spoon and stir stir, stir, stir. I'm stirring all the shea butter in, and I'm also making sure that we don't get any heat pockets, because heat pockets could potentially scorch your product. The beeswax is just about melted, so let's give this another 30 seconds. As we mentioned in your instructions, it's about a minute and a half that you're going to want to melt your products. So this month we included passion fruit rose, fragrance, and flavor oil. Why a fragrance and flavor oil? Well, this project was designed to be a cuticle balm, but quite frankly, with how cute these look, I knew that some of you would be keeping these in your purses for an all-purpose balm that goes on your lips. And because of that, I wanted to make sure you had a lip-safe product to actually use on your lips. Guess what? You can't use normal fragrance oils on your lips. And this is for an important safety reason. Many people lick their lips, or sometimes even inadvertently eat the lip balm off their lips while they're, say, eating a burrito or something. So it's important to always use lip-safe products when you are crafting for things that might go on the lips. Now that our cuticle balm has been made and is fully melted, add 2 milliliters of the passion fruit rose lip flavor fragrance oil. And you have a little bit left over, so you might be tempted to think to yourself, well, I have some left over. Why don't I just add more? Will it smell better if I add more? So if you add more, you'll actually reach your fragrance saturation point. It won't smell any better, and guess what? If you have chapped lips and you actually are using this on your lips and not just a cuticle balm, it may sting your lips because you're using more than the safe recommended amount. So just keep it to 2 milliliters or below. Stir it in until you can see that it becomes nice and clear. You want to make sure all the fragrance flavor is fully mixed in. You do have a little bit of the fragrance flavor oil left over for future projects. I'm seeing from Courtney, our producer, that we do have a couple questions. Yeah, Courtney?
So tell us about freezing it. Do you store it in the freezer, or do you put it in the freezer to let it cool?
Oh, that's a great question. And Courtney, while I'm answering this, do you want to grab me some spoons from the actual freezer? I'm going to show you a little tip to check the consistency of your balm to make sure you're happy with the consistency at home. So, back to your question. Thanks so much for asking that question, because if you're having that question, I guarantee you that other people are having that question. If you make your lip balms and your cuticle balms and you want to put them in the freezer to cool, go ahead and just put them all onto a tray. So something you can actually move all of your balms to the refrigerator or the freezer for, and just put them in there until they're fully cooled down. I would leave them in there for at least half an hour. This is a frozen spoon that I put into the freezer earlier. If I dip it directly into my hot container, you'll notice right away it actually goes and turns directly into balm. So now I can test it out on my hand and say, do I like this consistency? Do I not like this consistency? Do I want it harder? Do I want it softer? If you'd like it a little bit softer, you can add 1/2 ounce of any sort of liquid skin-safe oil. So, for example, coconut oil might be good, avocado oil might be good, hazelnut oil would be great, but remember, that'll make it considerably softer. If you'd like it harder, say you're going to be living in Tahiti for the next 3 months and you're like, I would like these harder. I don't want them to melt on me. You can always add a little bit more beeswax, but we're not talking very much. I'm talking like 0.1 ounces, 0.2 ounces, a little bit more beeswax to harden it up. Now that we have our balm and we're satisfied with the consistency, it's time to pour into our containers. I've got all of these containers lined up nicely over here, and I want to make sure I get them on camera for you, so I'm just going to move them over here. Now you can either pour using your steady hand and a heat safe pouring container, or you can use one of your droppers that came with your kit. I personally like to just pour them. I find it a little bit easier directly out of my mixing container, but if you do want to use a dropper, make sure that you have some very hot water sitting right next to this entire crafting station so you can keep your balm from hardening up in the dropper. So here we go. And just go ahead and fill it 3/4 of the way full. Keep a steady hand, so not too much coffee before you do this. I can smell that passion fruit rose, and it just smells so good. It's fruity and floral. It's really a nice update on that kind of traditional rose fragrance that you may associate with, say, your grandmother's time, which are good memories, of course. You'll notice that this cuticle balm is clear. As it hardens up, you'll see that it starts to go opaque. And there we go. Make sure that when you've stirred your balm that you are stirring for a full 30 seconds, because I want to make sure that all that passion fruit rose lip flavor fragrance oil gets mixed fully in. So now is the time that you would either transfer, if you want to transfer this to refrigerator or freezer, now is the time that you would do it. Or you can just let these harden naturally, and since you tempered the shea butter by melting it slowly, you probably won't end up with any graininess at all. So now let's talk about how to give yourself a manicure. To give yourself a manicure, you soak your nails in a little bit of warm water just to go ahead and soften up those cuticles. So at home, just soak your nails in a little hot water to soften up those cuticles, and then you push your cuticles back with the little nail tool that you received. And what you'll see is there's a little bit of translucent or transparent kind of cuticle detritus, and you just take your little tool, here's it right here, and you literally just trim your cuticles. And I don't even want to talk about it. It's kind of ew. Apparently my cuticles need a manicure, because I did get a decent amount off of there. So I'm really excited to do this to the rest of my nails when I am done with this, because now I am obsessed with getting my cuticles looking perfect. Once you've done that, go ahead and take your nail file and just file your nails until they're the shape that you want them to be. And if you want polish on, of course, go ahead and add polish, and make sure that your nails look as good as this cuticle balm feels. Please be careful though. This little guy is sharp, but it is one of my favorite cuticle tools, but I don't want to see anybody accidentally going a little too aggressive. So go light on this cuticle action. Now, if you were one of our original Kickstarter backers, first of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't tell you how great it felt to have all of your support when we launched Handmade Beauty Box. Wow. You got a free gift this month. And so I just want to go over for everybody what that free gift was and how you can get those in the future. If you're watching this and you weren't one of the Kickstarter backers and you're like, wait, I wanted an opportunity for a free gift, not to worry, those will be coming up in the future. So make sure you're watching all of our social media channels, our blog, Instagram, and Facebook, and Twitter for an opportunity to get a free gift with one of your upcoming boxes. So those of you that were Kickstarter backers got this adorable free Kickstarter gift. And the free Kickstarter gift had carrot extract, argan oil, jojoba oil, and nail polish bottles, because in keeping with what we're working on right now, which is a cuticle balm, we wanted to let everybody be able to make a nourishing cuticle oil. Have you ever used a cuticle oil before? They are, first of all, I use one at least 3 or 4 times a week. I use it all the time. They are great for providing easy on-the-go moisture for your cuticles, and also for kind of the tops of your fingers, so that way your cuticles don't ever look dry. And if you kind of price out cuticle balms, whoa, they can get so expensive. And what I'm going to teach you how to make is the exact same thing right now. So equally distribute 2 milliliters of your jojoba oil that came with your kit, and just drop it into your container here, and then do 2 milliliters of your argan oil, and then with your carrot seed extract, you don't necessarily need to do an equal amount, so do 1 milligram or milliliter, so that way you have enough left over to make full bottles for each of these. Actually, I'm I really want this to be really moisturizing, so I'm going with a full 2 milliliters. So you will end up having a little bit left over of all of these oils and extracts when you're done. So play with those ingredients and play with the percentages and play with the parts that you're using. To use this, it's super simple. Just cap it and shake it up to make sure it's fully mixed in. This carrot extract is oil soluble. That's one thing if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to use an extract from the store to really add something special to my homemade cuticle oil. Make sure whatever you're adding is oil soluble. And then take your brush and just paint directly onto your cuticles. Now to use your cuticle balm, because I see that ours are hardening up in a really fast way, just take a little bit and let's see, oh, that consistency is so nice and it smells so good. I cannot get over how good this smells. Just take a little bit and just massage it into your cuticles. And do this every night to have really wonderful moisturized cuticles. And then remember, you guys got really adorable labels. These get hand cut out and applied to the tops of your containers. So I know there was a few questions about substitutions. So Laura in Tennessee, I see your question about if you can substitute any other butter for the shea butter. So the question about substitutions is a really good one. Can you substitute anything for the shea butter? And the answer is yes, sort of. As long as you're substituting a butter for a butter, you can absolutely substitute, say, mango butter for the shea butter. You could even do coconut oil, since coconut oil has a somewhat similar consistency. But you wouldn't want to substitute, say, a liquid oil like jojoba oil for the shea butter, because the liquid oil is liquid at room temperature and the shea butter is a butter at room temperature. Same with the beeswax. If you'd like to substitute the beeswax, there's not a lot you can use to substitute it with, but if you're a vegan, you could always substitute it with candelilla wax, or you could do Sarah Alba wax, which is a beeswax alternative, or you could try a little bit of cocoa butter, which is equally hard, but that would be a lot of experimentation to do. So make sure when you're substituting that you're doing like for like. Courtney, were there any other questions that came in during the filming? Okay. Well, guys, I can't wait to see you guys doing your stuff on social media. Be sure to tag us on Instagram, Twitter, post to our Facebook feed. I really am so excited to see all your little lip balms lined up in a row. Happy, happy, happy. And show me how you're using those multi-purpose cuticle balms to make your hands softer and smoother. And until next month, guys, happy crafting.